Welcome back to the Stargazers channel, everyone.
Great to be here.
So Labor Day was just recently, and there's still this kind of focus on careers this month, right?
Absolutely. It's a good time to think about work.
So we thought we'd try a slightly different angle today. Forget the usual career advice for a minute.
Yeah, we're actually going to dive into the Chinese Zodiac, specifically the rat sign.
Exactly. We're looking at what the Zodiac might suggest about, good career paths for people born in the year of the rat.
We've looked into the typical characteristics associated with the rat sign.
And how those traits might line up with certain jobs or work environments.
Right. The idea is really to pull out the key insights, give you a better feel for potential career fits if you happen to be a rat sign.
Okay, let's jump right in then. What are those sort of defining personality traits for a rat? And how do they usually show up at work?
Well, generally speaking, rats are often described as having this blend of gentleness, but also frankness and carefulness.
Okay, gentleness, frankness, carefulness. How does that translate professionally?
Well, think about it. Gentleness, that can definitely help build, positive team relationships.
Sure, makes sense.
Frankness, as long as it's constructive, can lead to really clear, efficient communication. No beating around the bush.
Right. And carefulness, that seems pretty obviously useful.
Oh, definitely. It's a huge asset in any job that needs precision, attention to detail, that kind of thing.
That all sounds quite positive. Are there any potential challenges, aspects that might be tricky in a career?
Yeah, our readings do suggest that rats can sometimes maybe lean towards a bit of vanity or perhaps overconfidence.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
How might that play out?
Well, in a work context, maybe overestimating their skills sometimes, or maybe not seeing potential problems ahead.
I see.
But interestingly, when they do face setbacks, rats tend to handle them pretty quietly. They often prefer to sort of deal with challenges discreetly, keep a low profile.
Interesting resilience there. So keeping those traits in mind, what broad kinds of jobs seem like a good match?
We've seen a few key areas pop up repeatedly. Things like skilled trades, jobs needing focus and dexterity.
Okay, skilled trades. What else?
Roles in the charity sector seem to fit well with their sort of warm-hearted side.
Charity work, right.
Then there are various creative fields where their sensitivity and diligence really come into play.
Creative stuff, got it.
And maybe surprisingly to some, even finance. Their meticulous nature is actually a big plus there.
Okay, let's dig into those a bit more. Skilled jobs first, why the connection?
It really comes down to that agility and seriousness that are often linked to the rat sign.
Agility and seriousness. How so?
Think about jobs like, say, gardening or maybe detailed handcrafting. They need physical nimbleness sometimes, but also a really focused, careful approach.
Right, you need that concentration.
Exactly. And while rats might not always be aiming for the top leadership spots, their, natural sharpness and carefulness mean they can really excel and find satisfaction in these skill-based fields.
Especially if they can work on their own.
Yeah, they often enjoy that space to focus. And that agility isn't just physical, it's mental too. They adapt quickly in hands-on situations.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, charity work, that feels quite different. What's the link there?
It might seem like a leap, but rats are often described as, warm-hearted. They have this strong sense of social responsibility.
Okay.
They tend to be quite free-minded and genuinely enthusiastic about helping people. So the charity sector often appeals to that.
So it's that desire to help.
Yeah, their dedication to helping those in need can be really quite strong. Plus, remember that patience and carefulness we mentioned.
Yeah.
That's incredibly valuable when you're working with, say, vulnerable groups, like the elderly, kids, people with disabilities.
Ah, I see the connection now.
Yeah, so roles in social welfare, community work, volunteering, they can be a really natural fit.
So it's that mix of empathy and being really meticulous.
Precisely. That careful approach means they're really diligent in meeting people's needs properly.
Okay, let's switch gears to creative fields. What is it about the rat personality that works well there?
It's a really interesting mix of traits, actually. They're often positive, independent thinkers, but also quite sensitive and, importantly, very diligent, hard workers.
So positive, independent, sensitive, diligent, that's quite a combo.
It is, and it makes them well-suited for things like art, writing, editing, photography, you name it.
How does the sensitivity help?
Well, it often means they pick up on nuances, details that other people might just miss. And their diligence means they actually follow through and bring their ideas to life.
Makes sense.
And Interestingly, the readings suggest that rats often do their best creative work when they have autonomy, when they can work alone.
Right, they need that space to really dive in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Having that freedom from sort of external pressures seems really important for their creative process.
Was there some specific advice for rats in creative roles? I seem to remember something.
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
The advice was basically to actively, nurture their creative thinking, to always be looking for unmet needs or new angles.
And to challenge things.
Yes, exactly. To dare to challenge conventions, ask questions. It even mentioned Balzac, didn't it? About the question mark being key in science.
Yes. The power of inquiry.
Right. Applying that curiosity to creative work.
That's a great point. Okay, finally, let's talk finance. Why does the finance world suit a rat?
Well, here it comes back to those core traits again. Patience, reliability, and meticulousness.
Okay, patience, reliability, meticulousness. How are those key in finance?
Success in finance often really hinges on those things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You need to analyze data carefully, be totally dependable with money, and have the patience for long-term planning.
True, very true.
So for rats who maybe have a natural interest in maths or related subjects, finance can be a really good path.
It's more than just numbers then.
Oh, definitely. It's about that careful, reliable approach they bring to managing resources. That's the real strength.
Okay, so we've covered individual traits and job areas. What about teamwork? Who does a rat work best with, according to the Zodiac?
Right, partnerships. The readings suggest the ox, the monkey, and the dragon are typically the best working partners for a rat.
Ox, monkey, dragon, the top tier.
Yep. Seemingly the most harmonious combinations for collaboration.
Are there other signs that are still pretty good to work with?
Yes. The pig and another rat can also be good partners. And there's a note about the ox forming a good trio with a pig and a rat specifically.
Interesting trio dynamic.
Yeah, and then signs like the tiger, the rabbit, and the rooster are mentioned as sort of not bad.
It's not bad.
Basically, collaboration is possible, but the dynamic might be less naturally synergistic, maybe needs a bit more work based on, the wider principles of Chinese astrology.
That's really useful insight for navigating team dynamics. Now, what about career advancement? Any specific advice for rats looking to climb the ladder?
The advice points out their natural intelligence and generosity. Those are big pluses.
Okay, strengths. What about areas to watch?
It suggests sometimes they might need a bit more awareness around, say, discipline or structure, rules and restrictions.
Maybe a bit too free-spirited sometimes.
Potentially. And also a reminder to be mindful of tendencies towards egotism, keeping that confidence in check.
Right. So what's the key takeaway for promotion?
Really, it's about cultivating emotional balance, staying calm, staying grounded.
Not getting too high with the wins or too low with the losses.
Exactly that. Avoid getting overly elated after success or, completely discouraged after a setback. Keeping that steady perspective is really important for long-term growth.
Okay, so let's try and sum this up. If you were born in the year of the rat, those core traits, gentleness, frankness, carefulness, they're real assets.
Absolutely.
And they can serve you well in lots of different jobs, especially things like skilled trades, charity work, creative fields, and finance.
Those seem to be strong fits.
And the key for navigating your career seems to be leveraging those strengths while maybe keeping an eye on potential overconfidence and really working on that emotional balance.
That's a great summary. Understanding these tendencies, these potential alignments, it gives you a really valuable framework, doesn't it?
Yeah, as you're making career choices or thinking about growth.
Exactly.
And of course, if you found these insights interesting and maybe want to see how they apply more specifically to your own birth chart.
We do have a link in the description below where you can look into personalized readings.
Right. It's always fascinating, isn't it, to see how these sort of ancient perspectives might actually offer a unique way to look at our modern working lives.
It really is. Food for thought, definitely.